welcome to my May 5th DVD update. I talk about the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten over the last, I think, 2.5, 3 weeks or so. Before I start, though, I wanted to mention there's a couple things coming out in June and July, movies that I've involved in or have acted in, things like that, that are coming out. The first one is Treasure Chest of Horrors, which comes out June 19th, which is an anthology horror film, and I'm in one of the segments, and there's a segment in there that I directed. And then on July 17th, Girls Gone Dead comes out, and it's a really cool throwback 80s style comedy slasher with Jerry the King Lawler in it, Beetlejuice, from the Howard Stern show, and Bubble Boy and Scary Movie 2, and Sal, the stockbroker who does the phony phone calls on Howard Stern, and Linnea Quigley is in it as well. So definitely check that one out. And I'm putting the links for all these for the Amazons so you can get them. Also, Theater of the Deranged, another anthology, which one of my shorts appears in. And then a movie I did for the Asylum I'm in called The Haunting of Whaley House, which comes out July 31st. That's definitely another one to check out. So I have all the links so you can pre-order these below. Now on to the DVDs and Blu-rays. The first one I got is the Ty West film, The Innkeepers. And I really have liked Ty West movies. I like, a lot of people gave Cabin Fever 2 a lot of crap. I like Cabin Fever 2. I loved House of the Devil. This one is definitely tied with House of the Devil. It's basically a kind of throwback to the real slow burn kind of like 70s, early 80s kind of films. It's about these two people that work in a failing hotel, like not really exactly a hotel, like an inn. And they're basically working there. The place, I think, is about to go out of business, about to close the place down. And they basically are ghost hunters, for shits and giggles. So they basically, the one guy basically likes the one girl, so he's basically trying to do anything he can to get her interested. And, she seems to be interested in the ghost hunting stuff. So they end up, going through the house, through the hotel, trying to see if they can find anything. And it's basically like that, and then these ghosts. I don't want to ruin anything about it, but very, very creepy. Very, like I said, one of those slow burn, but really, really worth checking out. And if you like House of the Devil, this one's really, really good. The next one, and I was looking forward to this since I first heard they were doing it, and it's sort of a follow-up, not exactly, but kind of almost like a polar reality of the Wicker Man. Like the same director, but kind of the same kind of idea, but done differently. I don't know exactly how to explain what it is, but it is a different movie. And it's not, a lot of people, The Wicker Man kind of got a bad rap because of the Nicolas Cage movie. This is not a sequel or any kind of follow-up or anything like that to that one. It's a kind of continuation, sort of, to, not even exactly, but to the original 70s one. And this one is about this, she's like a Christian singer and her boyfriend, and they're all like, saving themselves for marriage, and that plays a lot of parts of the movie. And they basically are going to Scotland going on a mission to try and bring religion through their music, or through her music, to the town. And they're basically like a mission, like I guess like Mormons go on those kind of things, and I guess a lot of religious groups go on these kind of missions, but they go to Scotland because Scotland's not very religious, or at least not very Christian. So when they're there, they end up meeting this one guy, and he's like, basically they end up, it's kind of weird, it's a little bit like the original one, they're kind of being tempted by things, and they want to make the girl, I think the queen, I forget exactly what they call it, but it's really hard to explain. The thing that's a little bit different about this one than the original one, the original one kind of took things a little bit further, and like when they had the kind of sex scenes and things like that, they would go on, and there was more of that. These were kind of quicker, everything was quicker cut, and things like happened longer. I don't know if it was because it was R-rated or what. That's the only thing that I noticed was there was a lot of things happen very fast with this movie, and it had a couple things in it that were not perfect. I like Christopher, Lee's little cameo in it, and I like the main guy with the beard, and I realized he was in that movie Penance, which was a really good one too. This though, if you like The Wicker Man and you really want to see this really feels like a 70s movie. If you want to see this kind of thing, definitely check it out. The next one I got from Magnolia Pictures, and it's Playback. It's a Christian Slater movie, and Christian Slater, I liked his character in this. He's basically the basic idea was, years ago, I think it was in '94, this one guy ended up killing his whole family and videotaping the whole thing. And years later, this group of these, I think they were seniors, either early college or seniors, were basically making a movie about him and trying to reenact it and kind of make their own movie about what happened, about the killings. And when they're doing that, their one friend, who's kind of this weird, goofy, like, upset guy, and no one really likes him, but he ends up working at a news station, and they ask him, can you find any footage on what happened or anything about the story that we can use for our documentary? And he ends up finding these tapes, and by watching them, he ends up basically being possessed by the original person, you know, who did the killings. And Christian Slater's character, though, I thought it was kind of funny, you know, basically the extent of what he was doing in this movie. He was basically a deviant cop who would pay that kid that worked at the news station to, you know, get spy footage of the girls at the high school and stuff. He was a total deviant. Like, I just thought it was such a funny part for him to be doing. He has more to it, but the extent pretty much is he's just a total deviant cop. And, you know, the movie basically becomes a slasher film, too. And they're really good deaths. A lot of the deaths in here are real practical, you know, effects. Very little CGI. Like, that was one thing I really liked about it. This is definitely one that you know, not an amazing film, but definitely worth checking out. The next one was really good. It started out a little bit slow. It's from Magnolia Pictures, and it's Melancholia. It's the Kirsten Dunst movie. And it starts out a little slow in the first, like, half of the movie, but really, really picks up. And it's basically about Kirsten Dunst's character is getting married, and she's all really depressed, going through terrible depression, and, you know, then at this, you know, she can't go through with I think she gets married. Yeah, you don't really know. There's a lot of stuff you don't totally know what happens, but basically the idea, the main plot of this movie is that a planet, that was newly discovered planet, is coming towards Earth, and everyone is worried. You know, what's going to happen? Is it going to hit? Are they going to die? So everybody is pretty much in a terrible, depressed state because they don't really know what's going on. And Kiefer Sutherland's in the film as the brother-in-law to Kirsten Dunst, because it's basically Kirsten Dunst and her sister, and he's really good in this. I really like Kiefer Sutherland. I never watched 24, but I like, you know, Freeway, The Lost Boys, things like that. This one, the director did Antichrist, which was a little hard to watch. This one, though, really is worth seeing. Really surprised that she didn't get nominated for, you know, an Academy Award for acting. I thought she did a really good job in this. This is definitely one to check out, though. Yeah, I don't think she got nominated for... No, I don't think she did. The next one is The Divide, and this one was pretty good. It's a Michael Biehn film that he acts in, and basically it's about the end of the world. People are living in this kind of apartment complex, and something ends up happening outside, and he basically has a fallout shelter that he built, so a lot of the tenants basically stay and live with him down there. You know, he doesn't want them there, but they all kind of force their way into it when the whole thing is going on outside. And there's all kinds of weird stuff going on, and, you know, you don't really know what's going on outside, and they end up becoming locked in the place, and they all basically go crazy down there. And this was a pretty good one. Like, I saw some real mixed reviews with it, but all in all, though, I thought it was worth watching. This one wasn't very good. I don't know why I bought this. Yeah, it was not really anything happening in it, and it didn't really go anywhere. I liked the director's other movie, Turistas. I know people didn't really love that. I like Turistas. I hope they put the Blu-ray out at some point. It's been on, like, delay for 5 years. But this is Dark Tide. And, you know, I'm not a huge Halle Berry fan. You know, I like Babs, and I liked a couple things she was in, but never really followed her stuff. I mean, Monstrous Ball was good. I don't know, this was basically like a shark. They were going hunting for, like, the one guy wanted to swim with sharks and stuff, and I don't know. It was, you know, people sometimes say I don't, like, hardly ever don't like something. I didn't like this very much. I won't lie. I was like, really not much I can say that was that great. The next one is Roger Corman Presents Camel Spiders. I mainly got this to see Jessica Cameron in the indie actress. And it's directed by Jim Wynorski, who did, you know, Chopping Mall and things like that. He used a fake name in this. He always uses fake names. There's something about why he does it. I don't exactly know why, but he always uses different names. But it's about, a silly B throwback, totally like Roger Corman's early stuff about these spiders that are like killing everybody. And, I don't know, I liked it. The main thing I liked best was the main theme music for some reason. Like, gets stuck in your head real weird. Like that do-do-do-do. I don't know what it was. It was just like, total stuck in your head music. And I got the documentary on Roger Corman, Corman's World. And I thought this was good. It basically talks about his career and all the things he's done. It starts with one of the newer movies he was making. I kind of would like to have almost seen more of the footage from making the newer movie. And only thing I wish that they would have done with this was talk more about the movies in the 80s that he did, like Chopping Mall and things like that. I would love to have seen behind the scenes from some of those kind of stuff. That was the only thing I didn't like. The next one I got was the Mark Wahlberg movie Contraband. And I liked this one a lot more than I thought I did. This was basically him, and I think he was like smoking drugs and stuff. I can't remember all the details, I'm not going to lie. Because I haven't watched it again since I saw it in the theaters. This one, though, is from Echo Bridge, and this one I was really happy they put this out. Mainly because I think this is the first time that Cursed, the Christina Ricci movie that Wes Craven did, which I never hated that movie. I remember it always kind of had a lot of people disliking it, and it was basically her as a, I think it was her as a werewolf. I haven't gotten to look at it again, but it also has phantoms on here, which is a really good one that, people give a lot of crap to, like, you were the bomb in Phantoms, Ben Affleck and stuff like that. But I don't know, it was like about this thing in the town and stuff. But this is a really good set. It's called the 6-film Massive Terror Pack, and the only way you can get Cursed, Phantoms, and I think Darkness, are only on this set. The other ones are all out on different ones, but definitely pick it up for these ones. The next one I got from Echo Bridge as well is Halloween Resurrection. Another one people gave a lot of negativity to, and I liked this, as they made this kind of in response to when all the reality TV things were first starting, and they were putting a reality, like a hidden camera, not a hidden camera, like a web show kind of thing in the Michael Myers house where all the murders happened, and they all had to go in there. It was like a game thing. And Busta Rhymes was in it. I don't know. I thought this was a worth watching one. The next one I got was Clueless, which I have not watched again in years, but as I remember, really liked it. Now this one was so happy that Shout Factory put out. I've been watching through these. It's Fantasy Island, the complete second season. And I can't tell you, I think 2005, the first season came out. From Columbia, I think, put it out. I forget totally who it was that put it out. But I kept waiting and waiting. When's the other one going to come out? And that was what happened with a lot of things. Clarissa and lots of shows. The first season came out. It didn't sell that well. You never saw another one. So I am so glad Shout Factory is putting these things out. And if you haven't seen the show, it's basically about people in every single episode that come to the island for their fantasy. And, it's all kinds of different things. Like, one person wants to be, get reunited with their daughter and all, like their family. It's all totally different plots. And always it's kind of like one of them is kind of the funny one, and then one of them is the real serious plot. That's kind of how it always is. And this is one that's definitely worth checking out. There's so many good guest stars in this too. Maureen McCormick, Sid Haig was in the first one. Who else was in this? Leslie Nielsen. There are so many people in this thing. This is definitely worth checking out. This is one of my favorite TV shows next to Gilligan's Island, classic shows. And the next one I got is Our Real Monsters, the complete second season. This is a really good show. Grew up watching as a kid about these 3 creepy monsters that are always going around scaring kids and things like that. Really good Nickelodeon show. I'm so glad that Shout Factory is putting these kind of things out, because otherwise they really would never be able to actually own these things again. Because years ago they never really even came out to tape on VHS. If they did, they'd put out 3 episodes and maybe 1 or 2 volumes, and that was it. And this was from, I think, probably was 10 years old or so watching this. This is definitely one to check out. Same with Angry Beavers, the complete 3rd season, part 1. Another really fun one with these 2 weird beavers, and they're always going around on these weird adventures and things like that. This one I didn't watch as much as a kid. I watched Real Monsters more. This one was a little bit later. So I think this started when I was starting middle school or the 8th grade. But this was one, I occasionally saw episodes of this one. But this one was just as good, though. This is pretty much like one of the last, decent cartoons. Then I think SpongeBob was like right after this. The next one I basically got this just because I wanted to get Big Fat Liar in widescreen, and because that's the only way you can get it. The DVD wasn't widescreen, but this set is. The same with this kind of set that has Problem Child is widescreen as well. And I always liked Big Fat Liar. Next one I got is a really good horror anthology that's finally coming out, the third volume of it, the third season. It's taken a long time, and it's The Night Gallery Season 3. This is very much like the Twilight Zone and things like that. Definitely one to check out. The last one I got at Walmart, and I didn't see it in many other places. I'm surprised they carried it. It was only like $10, and it's the Theater Bazaar. And it's a bunch of like really cool, weird indie. It's like a weird indie like creep show anthology film. And like one of the best ones in it was the one with the toads, and Jeremy Caston, who did like I forget the name of the one, Wizard of Gore. And I really like the Wizard of Gore mainly because he got the actor, I think Joshua Miller, to come back for his first movie in years. This one, though, is really good. If you want to see a really weird horror anthology, definitely check this one out. Anyway, though, that's all for this DVD update. Thanks a lot for watching and for subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. And definitely check out those movies to pre-order. Okay,